years, there has been a debate over whether to choose the vision score or the lidar score when making or buying cars. The vision score is essentially high computing power plus strong models, and the vision is only a part of perception. And relying on powerful models can enhance the processing efficiency and the accuracy of perception information. And high computing power can make large models run more smoothly in vehicles. Only through the combination of the brain and the eyes can the upper limit of assistant driving capabilities be raised. And if you were to buy a car with intelligent driving assistant functions now, would you choose the vision score or the lidar score? So when you are choosing a car, you will probably hear many such remarks. With a lidar, you can see further, and assistant driving performs better in complex environments such as at night. So without lidar, does an intelligent vehicle that uses the visual plan not perform well in similar scenarios? And this video selects 2 visual intelligent assistant driving models and recreates 6 highly challenging scenarios of facing visual obstacles in rain, fog, or night in the closed test seat to see what kind of reactions their assisted driving will have. And one is the visual OG Tesla Model 3, and another is the domestic brand Xpeng MONA M03 MAX, and which has a relatively high sales volume in the series and is about to publicly promote the all-domain assistant driving functions. And first, let's take a look at the hardware information of the 2 cars. The Tesla Model 3 is equipped with the 8 cameras outside the vehicle. And in addition to 11 cameras, the Xpeng MONA M03 MAX also has 3mm wave radars. We formed 3 obstacle lines with traffic cones, water barriers, and road safety barriers, with each interval being 50 meters. And moreover, during the test, it was raining lightly to moderately. So this not only tested the vehicle's ability to recognize different target obstacles in rainy weather, but also its continuous detour, path planning, and vehicle handling in narrow area. And let's first take a look at the Tesla Model 3. It slows down twice in advance and made a smooth detour. It triggered a lane change when it was about 40 or 50 meters away from the first obstacle and decelerated linearly, and providing a comfortable ride. It can be seen that when it is making a detour, the steering wheel is always in place and the constant speed in one go, very smooth and giving the impression that it has the considerable driving experience. The Xpeng MONA M03 MAX also successfully crossed the obstacle twice. Its voice broadcast was very clear, and the reported actions made the driver feel more at ease psychologically. And when it detours, it will reduce to a low speed, below 10 km/h, which is relatively stable. It was accelerated immediately when passing obstacles. From this perspective, both of these visual vehicles have a certain ability to handle basic construction scenarios in the city, and this level of rain does not prevent them from performing well. And what? Did you say this rain is not heavy enough? Let's use in the water wall. We placed a dummy right in front of the vehicle and used 2 water sprinklers to spread a water wall in front of the dummy. So this effect made it impossible to see the dummy behind with the eye from inside the vehicle. So the task of these 2 vehicles is to identify and navigate through the ring around the dummy. So this situation of the water wall often occurs when passing through buildings, such as a tunnel on rainy days. The difficulty lies in the fact that the target object of the dummy is not large. The water wall will block the camera's field of view, so the water wall also scatters and absorbs the light, resulting in a decline in the image quality captured by the camera and a reduction in measurement accuracy. So when vehicles passing through water walls, water tends to adhere to the camera lenses like an occupied barrier and causing the images to become blurred or distorted. And let's first take a look at the performance of the Xpeng MONA M03 MAX. So when it approached the dummy, it recognized it and slowed down rapidly and then detoured through the water wall. The second attempt was also excellent. At a speed of around 50 km/h, it was close to recognition. There was almost no deceleration and it successfully detoured. The situation of Model 3 is different, and first of all, I have to praise it. Its recognition ability is indeed excellent. Identify early and stop speedily. But for the first time, it stopped and didn't move. Both the second and third attempts were made to detour through the water wall. The direction of its detour was fine, but due to the interference of the water wall, the system would stop and require a person to drive. We speculated that due to the excessive water volume, it might be at the eye-blocking level for the camera, which does not meet the conditions for Tesla's system to continue assistant driving. The situation where heavy rain makes it impossible to activate the assistant driving system also occurs in later model, and this is not uncommon in our daily tasks. When the MONA M03 MAX system is in the third gear of the wiper, and it will determine that the rainfall is too heavy and not suitable for assistant driving and exceed the function. When passing through the water wall, the condition was not met, so it is still in function. And of course, it is still not recommended to use assistant driving when going out during heavy rain. A long-term rain interference and more complex daily environments pose significant risks, and even for human drivers, one must never rely on assistant driving. First, we measured stationary animals at night, and we placed a puppy toy right in front of the driveway. The target object is relatively short, and in this environment, both cars were traveling at around 40 km/h with high beam on. So Model 3 was recognized very early on both occasions. It was expected to have a slight deceleration action and start to give way at around 70 to 80 meters. It paused at around 35 km/h and was very smooth. The MONA M03 MAX will get closer and then trigger a detour. It will also apply the brake in advance according to the situation and successfully avoid it as well. And next, the target object is changed to a stated dummy wrapped in pure black. And black is light absorbing and has a low construct ratio, which poses a great challenge to the camera's capabilities. And both cars have high beams on. Tesla can successfully pass through. Its speed will drop to 5 to 50 km/h, and during the detour, it might have been affected by the black skirt of the dummy being blown by the wind. It thought the dummy was about to move, so it stopped for a while. But it will eventually detour smoothly. After the MONA M03 MAX enabled its function, its speed increased to 50 km/h. And it was able to identify at close range and make a decisive detour without much deceleration. And what's even more difficult than at night is that there is a fog on the road. We left space on both sides, placed water barriers and other construction obstacles in the middle, and covered them with smoke. For sensors, fog not only reduces visibility, but also brings back a lot of visual noise. The algorithm has to remove interfering information before making a judgment. And however, both of these two vehicles managed to cope successfully, circling around from the both sides and passing through the fog barrier area. And their anti-interference capabilities were both quite good. For the sixth project, we tested the response of the two vehicles' assistant driving system to scrap tires on the road and at night. In this scene, both cars use low beam headlights. The MONA M03 MAX is stable at around 40 speed. The circling movement is quite smooth and there is almost no deceleration. Model 3 also performed stably. with a deceleration range within 5 km per hour, and the loop is smooth. By the way, Tesla's light is really bright, and even the low beam has a bit of the high beam's quality. So do you think this lightning effect has a big impact on Tesla's recognition ability? And in conclusion, the functions of assistant driving are not solely dependent on sensors. Software is equally important, and the navigation function has evolved from the multiple LiDARs and the single LiDARs to the current situation where it can be achieved without LiDARs. Apart from the performance improvements of various sensors, the improvement of software proficiency definitely account for the majority. And with the advancement of technology, it is currently unknown which will develop best, and the visual score or the LiDAR score. But it is known that the claim that one cannot work in environments like night without a LiDAR is definitely a fallacy. And I believe everyone has also experienced this from these two cars, with prices ranging from $19,000 to $71,000. And what surprises me is that the pure visual intelligent driving capabilities of Xpeng can be so well adapted to this Xpeng MONA in the $19,000 price range. And although the price of this car has not been announced yet, so being able to compete with the intelligent driving capabilities of the entire Xpeng series in the $19,000 market is undoubtedly a challenge to the same level market. And after all, a model that can be equipped with two Orin X chips at $19,000 has a highest computing power in its class and can achieve true urban assisted driving is truly unique. And finally, there is an Easter egg. In May, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology officially announced that AEB system would be mandatory on vehicles. And subsequently, a blogger claimed that the current production version of AEB system for visual road models cannot handle obstacles and stop at speed exceeding 100 km per hour. So we took a new version of the Xpeng G6, which doesn't have a LiDAR and has a system that will be available in full production in June to test its AEB and deal with the anti-collision bucket at night without stream lamps and with all kinds of debuff filled up at a speed of over 100 km per hour and see if it can handle it. And let's all take a look at the result together.